Hey, I'm Scott.
And I'm Rusty. And we're the hosts of Libel the Bible.
Before the show gets started, we wanted to let you know about our new Patreon page.
As the show grows, we're always thinking of ways to make it better.
One way we can improve the show is getting proper recording equipment, which gets expensive.
We're currently offering 2 tiers on our Patreon, one of which is simply a donation level thank you.
And the other one gets you exclusive behind-the-scenes content, as well as weekly post-show wrap-up conversations.
And who out there doesn't want to listen to me berating Scott after the show wraps up?
I know I want to be there for that.
Exactly. So head on over to patreon.com/libelthebible and help support your favorite oppressed atheists.
That's patreon.com/libelthebible to choose the tier that's right for you.
And now...
Previously on Libel the Bible.
Thanks to Scott's incompetence, we met to record for a 3rd straight night.
Thanks to Moses' incompetence, Yahweh denies him entry to the Promised Land.
So Moses does what any abused employee does at the end of their career. Rant.
Moses recounts the Israelite journey to the current generation of Israelites.
He focuses on all the mistakes made by the prior generations that forced Yahweh to deny them entry into the Promised Land.
He begs them not to make the same mistakes.
He drones on and on about the glory days.
Talking about, if only Coach had put me in, we'd have one state!
I mean, he sees the writing on the wall, and he's gonna let it all out now. He's got nothing to lose.
And now, episode 44 of Libel, the Bible. You can sit around all you want saying, I'm Rusty, I know me better than anybody, but I'm Scott, and welcome to Libel the Bible. Recording, man.
I'm Rusty, and welcome to Libel the Bible.
So, I got a story to tell, Russ.
You have a story to tell?
I got a lot on my mind. I've had a really busy, 10 days.
I'm interested.
Yeah, probably not, but...
it's something you say, you know what I mean? Just get on with your fucking story.
It's like how you do it and someone tells you, shut the fuck up.
I mean, really. What do you want me to say?
All right.
Oh, great. Scott's got a story, everyone. All right, let's...
So I'm driving home and from a long ways off. I took a long ride here to record this, and I was on a major fucking New York City thoroughfare, and there was a minivan next to me. I was in the left lane of a road. It was a middle minivan.
You can't say where you were.
Nah, you know how I am. I'm paranoid about everything. I don't know no particulars. It was a major thoroughfare in Queens, New York. And I see a minivan next to me, and the back of this minivan had mad stickers all over it. It was Bernie Forever, fierce feminism, Jesus was a liberal. And so I got stuck at one light, and I couldn't quite make it out. So I was lucky enough at the next light to be able to be parked diagonally back. I could read all the bumper stickers. I liked all of them. Didn't agree with all of them, but I liked the passion and all the bumper stickers. Mm-hmm. Right? So I was I got to talk to this dude. If I can get up alongside this guy at the next light, I'm going to talk to him. I pull up along the next light, right, window to window, and I see it's a female. And now I don't want to be like a creepy dude saying, hey, roll down your window. I want to talk about your bumper stickers. So I don't say nothing.
You assume it's a female.
No, I saw it. I was eye to eye. I see it was a female. Oh, I guess, yes.
You assume it's a female.
Based on what I saw,
I got you. I understand.
Yeah, okay, right. All right.
Based on your outdated, way of looking at the world and reality.
Yeah, she was a she as far as I remember she's being. So now we're going to the next light, because, lights suck. I pull up alongside her again. I was like, you know what? I have to do this. So I roll down my window, and I give her a little toot-toot. She looks over, and I go, the whole, the roll down your window fucking symbol. I'm she's going to think I'm a total creep.
Yeah.
And she proceeds to roll down her back window, which is not in line with either of us.
Right.
And then I hear her go, silly me, and she rolls down her legit window.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, how are you? I was like, listen, I don't mean to be weird and creepy or whatever. I just want to give you a thumbs up on all the stickers on the back of your car. Yeah. I respect and appreciate all that shit. Little did I know I was going to have the longest red light conversation of my life. So she goes, Wow, thanks. The last person who asked me to roll down my window and mention my bumpers, my stickers, threw a 72-ounce Slurpee at me in my fucking car with my 4 kids in the backseat.
Oh my God.
And I went, what?
Snowflakes.
She said, yeah, well, apparently I'm a fucking rhino. I hate Jesus, blah, blah, blah. And this, I was like, you got attacked?
She's a rhino.
Republican name only.
I know. Why would she be a rhino? She's got Bernie stickers.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Listen, I don't know. Listen, it was ridiculous.
Okay, go ahead.
The gist of the story is somebody threw a 72-ounce fucking Slurpee at her. Yeah. First of all, I'm pretty sure that's expensive. Yeah. It's good they have expendable income like that. So I said, wait a minute. What did you tell this person? She's like, what I'm going to tell you. I'm a Jesus-loving, this, that, and the other thing. And she mentioned Jesus a couple of times.
You should have told her about Libel the Bible.
Wait. Of course I would have. Like, I'm ready to sit down for 4 hours with this woman.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So she's like, yeah, I'm a Jesus-loving, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, wait a minute. What are you, biblical Jesus or Republican Jesus? Mm-hmm. She goes, biblical Jesus. And I was like, now I'm starting my spiel. I'm like, I haven't gotten to that part yet. And I think she was probably thinking, like, I haven't gotten to that part of my story to you at this red light. Mm-hmm. So, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, I don't have to. I just wanted to say, no, in all sincerity, thumbs up. And then, of course, the light turned green. People were honking at us because we didn't move for like 32 seconds, right? People want to get the fuck home. Yeah. So I was like, toot, toot. She's like, great meeting you. See you around, blah, blah, blah. And I left. And the whole time I was on my way home thinking, is she a fan of Jesus? Or because if you saw me, now you don't know me, it's getting twilight, you're a smallish woman, I'm some dude that looks like me that pulls up alongside, rolls down my window.
Whoa.
What?
Say all that slower.
All right. I pull up alongside you.
Yeah.
You're a smallish woman who had a 72-inch Slurpee thrown at you. Which on a different day, that might be a fun thing.
I can get into that. What am I wearing?
The stickiness afterwards? Not much. Whatever it is, it's soaked in Slurpee.
All right, go ahead.
Right? When you try to take it off, it's going to stick to you a little.
I'm sorry, so continue.
So now I was curious, like, did she mention Jesus? Because if I roll a window down next to you in twilight and I start talking about your shit on the back of your car, do you want to, like, bridge the gap between us by immediately assuming I'm a fan of Jesus? Because, look at me. I look like a skinhead. I look like one of these fucking guys that were on top of the 405 freeway saying honk if you trust Kanye, you believe in Kanye. So I'm like, I hope that wasn't her takeaway from that. Like, she felt she had to get, like, on the same level as me because I looked apart.
I think anybody that name drops Jesus is probably, that's like their thing. And they're like dropping it to see if that's your thing too, to see your response. So it's like if you're like a white supremacist, you're going to drop like the N-bomb like fairly early, like in a conversation with another white person to see like how they react. If you're, you know what I mean? Like, so like whatever clique you're with, like you try and drop it early on. So I just learned about apparently in the swingers community, like the women will go into like supermarkets and they have like an upside down pineapple in their shopping cart. You know this?
I don't know the detail. I remember hearing something about an upside down pineapple.
So I just like read this like in a Reddit like comment thread, and then like I went, because every time I read something in a Reddit comment thread, I gotta like go and like find like if it's true or not.
You gotta like, do your research.
On Reddit, everyone's an expert. It's unbelievable. Like I'll read like an article put out by NASA.com about like
.gov. You're an idiot.
.gov. So whatever.
NASA.com's a scam.
You're right. I am an idiot because I didn't know that. You're right.
You did know it.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. I'm an idiot. So they'll put out an article about the James Webb Telescope, and it found this, and this is why it's significant. And on Reddit, there's invariably always someone upvoted, like really upvoted, who's like, let me explain to you why this article is incorrect and why the NASA scientists are wrong, because I'm a commenter on Reddit. You know? I'm a fucking neckbeard on Reddit, and I know better.
What?
A neckbeard.
I don't know what any of these terms are.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't want to lose.
So in a Reddit like comment thread, I saw the pineapple thing. So that's another. So there's like signals, you know what I mean? Kind of like, remember that senator, that Republican senator from like Idaho who was in the bathroom in the airport, And like his signal was he would put his foot under the stall. He would go into the bathroom stall, and like to find gay men who wanted to have sex with him, he would slide like his shoe under the stall into the next stall. And like that was the signal for like gay men in that airport bathroom. So like, you don't remember this when that guy got caught?
Yeah, now that you
and he
mention
was like one of the biggest anti-gay senators in
They
like
always
Congress.
are.
Yeah. So I think when she dropped Jesus, it was to see what you would respond.
Okay, fair enough, but I'll tell you this. I'm okay with that. She's got a community she's looking to embrace with. That's not my community. But based on the it's probably total, how long was it? 2 red lights? 2.5 minutes? Whatever it is. Based on
It
that.
depends. Why don't you tell us exactly what street and where the lights are, and I could tell you how
It was
long
in
that
Queens,
light is.
New York. That's all. That's enough.
Okay. Well, then we don't know how long the light was.
So, no, I did ask that question, but it wasn't long. But I would totally like indulge her in more conversation because I didn't. I hate to say this, I felt like, and your wife's mother might be right. I haven't met the dude yet, but I was like, I like the energy she was projecting from her car. Like that was a good, positive Jesus energy, not the energy I'm usually getting from the Bible and stuff like that.
I mean, cult leaders are always charismatic, and some of their biggest followers and recruiters are also like charismatic. You know what I mean?
Do you think she's like at the next level? She's like a recruiter for them? Like
I don't know if she's a recruiter.
She's like, Jesus, you down? Sign up. You think?
Well, it seems like she's up for talking to strangers who ask her to roll down her window randomly. You know what I mean?
It was polite.
Still, it's very.
I could have been telling her like there's an axe murderer in your back seat. Like it's in her best interest to roll down her window.
Knowing you, I understand the skit that you're doing. Like I get that. But from her point of view, it's odd that like she would roll down the window. But
considering she had a 72-inch Slurpee thrown in her face with her kids in the car, she might.
So wait. So
maybe
is the point of the story that are you preparing me for the fact that you're going to be like a Jesus convert? Because that's what Amy keeps saying. Amy keeps saying once you get like Scott's totally susceptible to like conversion. Oh, by the way, before I forget. This is gonna like totally throw us off topic, but
no, that's all right. This topic's done.
It kind of is on topic too because just like that woman was a Jesus freak.
I didn't say she was a Jesus freak.
We watched with Noah for the first time over the weekend. I was like, hey, let's watch this movie. We watched Airplane.
Shut up! Shut the fuck up! I was gonna say, did you watch Airplane?
We
know
watched
why?
Airplane. Why?
Because last night I was with my aging father, and we got stuck watching the Pluto TV or Me TV or something, whatever, some streaming shit.
That's good.
And it was all black and white movies. And the last one we watched was a movie about a plane that was about to crash and the antics that went on the plane. And I remember Airplane was actually a satire of an actual movie.
Yes.
So I was like,
and was that the movie? Yeah.
I don't think it was. He said it was The High and Mighty. Which I don't think was the movie it was based on. Yeah. But I kept saying I was waiting for like somebody to go in and go, man, don't call me Shirley. Like, I was waiting for all these moments in the movie.
So Noah did not get those jokes, but he did get a lot of other jokes. He nearly pissed his pants when the plane was like experiencing turbulence and the camera pans and it's like, the bowl of Jello and then it's like the boobies.
Right.
He fucking laughed so hard during that. Like shit like that. He laughed hard at the guy who was waiting in the cab. Remember the very beginning of the movie? The main character who winds up flying the plane. He's
Stryker.
A cab driver. So he shows up to the airport because he's like chasing a lane. So he like pulls his cab in and the guy gets in. And Stryker gets the meter going. He's like, I'll be right back. Right? So then, like, the guy's sitting in the cab, and then, like, halfway through the movie, you've forgotten about this guy. All of a sudden, like, the camera goes back, and he's, like, sitting in the cab, like, looking out the window.
It's like $200.
You know what I mean? Right. Noah fucking loved that.
Really?
Yeah, he got that.
Right.
But there was a lot of really, like, funny shit, even for me. There was definitely some... he, like, totally got... the joke where Elaine was blowing the autopilot.
I was going to say, was that in that one or the second one?
He totally, like, understood what was going on.
Oh, right. She blew the autopilot in the second
deflating.
one. Yes. In the second one, the name of the computer was Rock.
Uh-huh.
And they was talking about blowing the computer. And she's like, blow rock? And she had like that sultry voice on. So, yeah, they visited that twice. All right, good.
So, no, but it's a really funny movie, man. And there are some things that never get old. When fucking Lloyd Bridges is doing his whole, like, I picked the wrong week to quit smoking. You know, like when he did like all of those, it was just the delivery, like everything was perfect.
Did you realize it was years before I even heard of it? He says, I picked the wrong week to quit methamphetamines. It wasn't until like Breaking Bad that I knew what a methamphetamine was. Yeah, good job on you, Sudafed guy.
That, though.
I bet you did.
He said it's looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
He said that too.
I don't remember the methamphetamine.
Maybe that was Airplane 2 then?
Maybe.
All right.
That sounds right.
Well, either way, that was early. That was early on in my meth career.
That was really funny. So he kept asking to see like Airplane 2, Airplane 2.
Did you think there was going to be more horizontally shaking boobies in Airplane 2? And I got to say this, and I'm not talking, I don't want to disrespect anybody of any gender.
Yeah.
That movie came back, what, late 70s, early
1980.
80s? 1980. That woman...
Oh, so the reason I thought of that movie, why it's kind of a transition from your Jesus car woman, is because of the Hare Krishna in the airport. That's another part that he was laughing at when that air traffic controller, like captain guy, like was walking through the airport and just started fucking them up. Get the fuck out of my way, hippie. You hippie piece of shit.
Oh, that's funny. But when Noah gets older, he'll understand. Back in 1980, and again, times were different, to see someone with such a large breast with a smallish figure that could shake back and forth like that was rare. You remember a lot of women in the 1980s with really big boobs based in a small frame? I don't remember that.
In the 1980s, that
1980.
was
Forget 1980s, 1980.
I would say that was like the standard.
All right, well, then I'm going to say this.
A small frame and big tits. That's like Playboy. That's the standard.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I was 8 years old playing with Matchbox cars. You fucking perv, all right? So maybe I didn't realize.
The first boobs that I saw on film was Animal House. We moved to America. We lived in Brighton Beach, and there was a movie theater in Brighton Beach, Oceana.
I was gonna say, was it
the movies
Oceana?
were like a fucking $1. I don't even remember what they were. And my sister and I would go to the movies, and we got in. We saw Jaws, which was not a good idea because we lived literally a block away from the boardwalk. Like we were right across the street from the boardwalk. Right. And that
sharks
summer,
could jump,
I
right?
did not want to. Yeah, well, tell that to a fucking 6-year-old who'd just seen Jaws.
Yeah, now you're 6.
So I saw Animal House in that movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
It was when it was released, like 1978 or so. And I was like 7. And John Belushi climbed up on that ladder and he's like peeping through the window, which is predatory now, you know, like you would get arrested for that. But back then it was like in a comedy because, 1978, those were different times, man. Those are different times, right? So that kind of behavior was, so It's Always Sunny does a great episode where they go to the ski lodge. And everything's different on the mountain. And it's basically like a parody of like all 80s like ski movies, where it's like the bad guy challenges you to a race and then you got to race for the mountain. And then like there's like hijinks in the showers and this and that. So the whole episode is basically like them pointing out like, yo, man, you can't do that. That's sexual assault. Like you'll go to like prison for that,
So sexual assault's funny? Something you should be laughing about right now?
No, it's funny how accepted it used to be, like in the past. Yeah,
it was crazy.
It must have been. I mean, it still must be terrible to be a woman in many ways. You know what I mean? But like back then, like it must have been really fucking horrific.
You realize the more men like you that get married and off the market, the better it is for women in general.
Yeah, why is that?
No, that's why. Like, because you're off the market. Like, they don't have to deal with you. Like, people like you, men like you.
Let me tell you something.
No, you don't have to tell me anything, man. We're good.
A woman would be happy to be with an enlightened man like myself.
This is the old Rusty. 43 episodes ago, you said that on air.
What did I say?
You said you would be lucky to know us because I have so much interesting
There you
things
go,
to say.
episode 1.
Like it's about time. Welcome back, Rusty. Welcome back. Welcome back. That's all I know from Welcome Back, Gotta. You 70s and 80s chicks, smash those keys.
So what else is up?
Nothing. I think I had a lot going on this week. I don't want to waste the entire preamble here with my story. The latest thing that happened was that woman in the car, and I'm like, I wish her well, and her kids, and her husband, and hope she doesn't get slurpeed anymore.
The British Prime Minister resigned. She lasted like 4.5 Scaramucci's. Remember Scaramucci?
I hate to say this. When Scaramucci got into, he was the press secretary, right?
I forgot what his role was. Yeah.
When he got into that position, I went, come on, everybody. Can we stop taking anything about this administration seriously and just enjoy the laughs?
Yeah.
And I like him even more when he retired. Like, I was like, this guy's such a clown. Like, he's a rich clown, but
he's
rich.
Very critical of. I mean, he's rich. Why not?
Yeah, I guess
you don't think he's rich?
He's got all my money and all your money and everybody else's money that fucking invested in the stock market. That was my fucking air quotes in case you didn't fucking hear that.
He has like at least 10 million, 20 million, I'd say.
Good for him.
You don't think that's wealthy?
It's wealthier than you see this thing. It's covered in dirt. It's covered in dirt.
Scott's pointing at our digital audio converter. It's the box that our microphones go into. It's a real piece of shit. That's a good opportunity, by the way, to bring up, talk about our Patreon. We want to thank our patrons for sure.
Yeah,
we really appreciate the early support. We've got stuff coming out. We've got some bonus material. We've got bonus material in the can already. So tomorrow, or actually, I guess when Tuesday. Oh, I don't know why I'm even talking about timeline because I'm thinking,
we're good. That's in the can. This is next Tuesday.
I know, but the time doesn't mean anything to the people listening because who knows when the fuck they'll be listening. So anyway, this is being recorded the day before last week's episode gets published tomorrow morning. It sounds confusing.
That's just cleared it all up.
Yeah, I'm totally confusing everybody. So, long story short, we've got bonus content for our patrons. We've got our regular show coming out for everybody else. We want to thank our patrons very much. And we want to tell everyone else that we have a Patreon. It's at patreon.com/libelthebible. We offer 2 tiers. Currently in our second tier, we are offering bonus content. We record after the show. We discuss shit that we talked about during the show. We have typically been discussing my mental state over the past couple of episodes.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah. As you could see today, I have totally made a breakthrough and everything is rosy and sunshine now. So I just wanted to throw a shout out to that Patreon. Go check it out. We've got also polls up there. You don't have to be a member to participate in the polls.
For now.
We're going to be posting questions. And you know what I'm thinking about, Scott? I'm thinking about maybe leaving here with a microphone every week and just hooking it up to a USB and my computer at home. And just throughout, over the course of the week when we're not recording, if I feel like, I need to say something for 10 or 15 minutes, maybe record a 10 or 15 minute monologue or dialogue and make that available for our patrons and add that to the second tier.
I've been telling you to take a microphone home for a while for a different reason, but
yeah,
basically so you don't
come
fucking
you
back.
don't want me coming over. I got you, man. I got you.
But yeah, if you could record a 5, 10, 15, 20-minute monologue at home, so I don't have to listen to it while you're here.
No, it'll be about you. Great. I'm sure I'll have a
matter.
picture of you on a computer monitor
Don't matter.
so I can look at you and I'll have you talking, but I'll just ignore you, talk over you.
Yeah.
That's the dream, really.
You've made it.
The dream
man.
is just to have you sitting there like the meat puppet.
The meat puppet. I don't like that term. It's kind of, I don't know. I get bad feelings when I hear about that.
Yeah.
Meat puppet.
So what do you think about that?
About what?
As a serious idea. Me taking a microphone when I go home.
I definitely think you should do that.
All right.
As a matter of fact, I have a microphone. It's are these Samsons?
Yeah, Samsung Q2s.
I've got an old Samsung back when I used to have parties back at the fun house.
Yeah, can you do me a favor? Can you stop rocking?
No. Can you stop shaking your leg?
I can.
You just did that just as I asked, though. All right, so I can stop rocking. Look at that. Our anxieties have disappeared.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Are you off your meds?
Yeah. Let's see how long I can stop rocking and you can stop shaking your leg.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to talk about the microphone first.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I found a Samson microphone up in my home office that I used to use during the Funhouse days on Pickens Avenue. We used to walk around with the wireless mic.
Mm-hmm.
I still got that mic.
Okay.
It's a Samson mic. It looks like this, and it's wireless.
Okay.
So, I don't know, in case you want to bring it to the bathroom with you while you're on the bowl, you want to record stuff. Like, we'll check it out before we leave.
Well, what can you record into? You record into the microphone itself?
Oh, you know what? No, it needs like an XL. Yeah, all right, we'll talk about it later. It's no big deal, but we'll check it out. And the patrons can find out what kind of mic it is.
So that's why I knew that the microphone content was going to go nowhere. That's why I was leaning more towards the meds aspect of it.
Let's talk about me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You asked me if I'm off the meds.
I asked you.
I'm off the meds. I haven't gone back on. No.
Okay, so here's my question to you. My understanding is the reason that you were off the meds.
Yes.
All right. This conversation is headed towards Scott needing to be back on the meds. But
all right, let's
get there. Let's get there.
Let's get there. Yeah.
Okay. The reason that you stopped taking your meds was you were going away on a trip to Maine. You said that. You've already disclosed that.
Yes.
I'm not disclosing. I'm not disclosing any information that is not out there.
I hit
already.
Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire too, but the main goal was Maine.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, in the lead up to that, you were running low. Blah blah blah. This and that happened. You couldn't get your prescription, and you left for Maine without your prescription.
Yes.
Okay, so that's understandable. From what my wife says, that should have been affected you on the trip anyway, because it takes like however long
or whatever
for that kind of medication to like wear off. Okay. Here's my question. So now you're back. You've been back
2 weeks, maybe.
So the question is, why do you think it's a good idea not to be medicated when 3 weeks earlier you thought it was a good idea to be medicated?
So why do I think it's not a good idea to be medicated now?
What changed? What? How did you go?
I didn't change anything, man.
You wanted.
I still don't feel like I should be on meds.
So you were taking meds the whole time, thinking you shouldn't be taking meds.
Wait, the whole time I was on meds?
Yes.
I was on meds for years, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
No, absolutely not. No, I needed them.
Okay, so
I absolutely fucking needed them.
At what point did you realize you don't need them?
I honestly think it was more of I didn't want them than I didn't think I needed them. I wanted to see. It was time for me to see, with all the coping mechanisms that have been taught to me, all the tools that were put in my toolbox by my therapist, and like just my evolution as a person. I want to see if I can handle it without meds.
Okay.
I'm not saying getting off meds is for everybody. I'm not even saying it's right for me yet. I'm just saying it's right for me right now.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you feel that you are self-reflective enough to be able to gauge the differences in your behaviors and identify the ones that are positive as a result of being off the meds, as well as the ones that are negative?
That is a good question. I think my initial reaction to that is yes. However, I also feel I'm about 3 weeks removed from the meds now. There is a definite racing going on in my brain. It's like a drug withdrawal. It's like so I don't think right now I'm the best judge of how I'm reacting on an everyday basis or like to things right now. But when I was on the meds, I knew I feel like once I'm off like whatever withdrawal I'm going through, I think I'm reflective enough to know whether or not I'm going to need to go back on. I don't know if that answers your question. Like, do I think I know enough about myself to like not overreact, to chill out, to
you
act.
answer my question. You're not ready to understand anything yet. Your brain is still like fucking unwinding from like being on the drug, so you're not like really able to like tell right now. You're still waiting to like get more clear-headed.
When I made the decision to stop the meds, I felt I was in a position to be able to cope without them. Wait, I want you to listen.
I'm sorry.
I felt I was in a position that I could cope without them. But I'm asking everybody in my life for the next I'm 3 weeks in, maybe another 3-4 weeks, to bear with me while I get my footing again. And I will see then if I am truly capable of dealing with you fucking assholes without being medicated.
Okay. So, understood. Have you done any reading about stopping that medication and what to expect?
Yes.
So are you experiencing those things? Is that why you're saying, like, this is how my brain feels right now, and I'm going to be able to judge better in however long?
Well, part of that is reading. Like, listen, I was in therapy for years. I was reading about this for years. But as far as the abrupt cessation of taking the medications, I've been reading up on those, and it's strangely enough, like what they describe was going to happen has happened to me.
Have you been drinking more?
No change. Actually, drinking less. Maybe a little more often.
Is that honest?
No, it is often. Maybe a little more often, but a little but less. Definitely less quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not getting like. I can't drink 3 bottles. Like, dude, man, on this medication, when I was having a good time and I didn't want the good time to end. Dude, I can drink 3 bottles of wine by myself. And then when it hit me, it hit hard. Because alcohol's a depressant. I was on antidepressants. And eventually the alcohol won out because, I wasn't taking... Maybe I need to take more antidepressants when I drink more alcohol. But, no, I'm drinking more often, but less quantity, much less quantity.
So ideally, the equilibrium that you would like to find has to do with tuning down your anxiety. Is that like where we're getting at? It's anxiety?
It's hard to say now. I initially went on the stuff because I had mad anxiety problems.
Is it paranoia?
I had no, not paranoia.
Not paranoia.
Not paranoia.
Anxiety.
No. Anxiety. A generalized anxiety is sort of stemming from, I used to have like an acute panic disorder.
About your health.
No, it morphed into that. It was just a generalized anxiety. Like, I was always constantly racing. I had to get shit done. If I didn't, like you said, if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. I went through fucking some shit
when
with
you
this
were
place.
in therapy.
Yeah.
Did they get to the bottom?
I don't like your fucking tone, man. I don't like your fucking tone.
Did they get to the bottom of your anxiety?
They got to a lot of my anxiety.
Okay.
Whether it was the bottom, yo, man, I'm so layered.
Yeah.
You ain't ever gonna get to the bottom.
Okay, that's fair.
And you know what? I gotta be honest with you.
Yes.
The amount of money they pay, like licensed clinical social workers, they don't deserve to get to the bottom of me. That's unfair to them.
Yeah.
Like, I need an upgrade in like the level of pay that the person's getting to get to the bottom of me. I will say this. I'm sure they're not listening. I have nothing but amazing respect and appreciation for what my therapist was able to do with me. Do I think she got to the bottom of everything? There's no chance. She didn't have the time. Right. She has her own life she needs to live.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible to ever get to the bottom of someone?
I think it's possible for you to get to the bottom of you with a lot of fucking work.
Sure.
I don't think it's possible for me to get there. I can come along on the journey with you, but you have to take us there. We can help guide you and
Why
stuff.
me?
So, did I turn that around like that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I'm saying you as in anybody.
Listen, I'm not.
I'm saying you
of
as
course.
anybody.
Listen, I concede that I am severely, like, I have pathologies for certain, and I have many picadillos and idiosyncrasies.
That was on the vocabulary list, I think, picadillo, right?
Possibly.
Because I was like, there's a subway line.
Possibly.
All right, I think it's time we talk about somebody else.
Why
has
are
other
you changing
problems.
the subject?
Oh, you want
Is
to talk
this-
about you?
Is
We can
this
talk about
conversation
Listen,
making you
no,
uncomfortable?
No, it's on you now. It's not on me anymore.
Did
No,
we
can
hit
talk
a
about-
nerve?
No, it's just dude, man. I've been wrestling with your psychology for so long. It was a pleasure to talk about mine for a change. So no, we transitioned off me onto you, so I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Okay, that's fair.
But if you want to come back to me, we can.
No,
come back to me.
that's fair. Let's keep it on me.
And
It's
you
all
asked
about me anyway.
You asked how I was going to react when you decided to be the one with the clipboard and the pen, and I was on the couch. You were wondering how I was going to react.
Yes.
Yeah. Hope I met your expectations.
Well, in fairness, I was asking very highly intelligent questions of you, so.
As opposed to what?
Well, I mean, listen back to some of those shows.
Questions I asked?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to say anything bad, but I've heard people talking. Ask them. Ask anybody. They say I'm great. They say I was really great, the best they've ever heard. That's what they said.
Really?
They said, Scott, not so much, but that's okay.
They said, sir?
He pulls his weight.
Sir, you're the best I've ever heard.
He's like the setup man.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, man, I don't mind.
So I'm just telling you what I heard from people.
That's fine.
Oh, and I don't know. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to have a lot of thoughts racing through my head tonight.
No, maybe you should go on some medication.
Took Noah to his first Ranger game last night at the Garden. It was fucking awful. The Rangers got trounced. A child could not have gone to a worse first NHL game. It
Really?
was boring, and they got trounced. Yeah.
If the game was being played at the enemy's arena and you were fans of the enemy, was it a boring game? Or was it an awesome, exciting game? Because you were the trouncing team.
Right. No.
You know what I mean? There's a difference between a boring game and, fuck, we got trounced.
Well, yeah, you're going to root for your team. You're not going to root for the other team.
No, but boring can often be like a one-run game.
It was boring anyway because they were playing a counterattack, so they would counterattack our offense. But you're just playing devil's advocate anyway. You're not even interested. You're busy fucking texting. What are you doing?
I'm not
right
texting.
Now? What are you doing?
I'm looking at something. You look at your phone all the time.
What are you looking?
You know what?
Go ahead. Tell me.
I'm going to tell you. I got a text from a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
If you and Rusty do get married, will you invite me to the wedding? LOL. That's a test to see if you know what episode I just listened to. So we mentioned getting married?
I don't even know.
I had mentioned, do you think people are going to think, are they going to get together at the end of the podcast?
Yeah.
But I thought that was the Lost episode.
Yeah. So someone texted you that?
Yeah, somebody texted me that. So it was podcast adjacent.
So someone's listening to the episode right now as we're recording?
I don't know.
All right.
Why don't you put your phone away and let's get on with it?
Because I'm pulling up my notes for tonight.
Oh, so you didn't know I wasn't pulling up my notes?
We're going to be doing Deuteronomy 4 and 5.
Deuteronomy.
I'm going to be holding Scott's hand through this. Because things have been tough for Scott. He's not on his meds.
I said I've been busy.
All right, so.
You know, it's people like you that add the stigma to people like me.
Yeah. Okay. Man up. So, Deuteronomy. As.
COVID.
Yowza.
Sorry.
Okay. So. You got all your aggression out, all your little.
I had no aggression.
Uh-huh. Oh, Rusty's going to read and Rusty's going to talk now. And I don't have my notes this week.
Yeah, you know
so
what?
I'm going to cough the second he's about to take his putt to win the Masters. That's when I have a coughing fit.
Why don't you listen back? Whatever, go ahead.
Okay. So, as we can recall in Deuteronomy, Moses is basically now addressing this new generation of Israelites. But Moses is like the boomer, and he's addressing all the Gen Zs.
I prefer to consider him like the town elder, the village elder.
Well,
tone his bard's tales.
If I was them, though, I wouldn't take him seriously because who the fuck is he? He's not even getting into the promised land. I'm getting into the promised land. I did everything Yahweh asked of me.
You're right. Okay,
this
boomer.
guy, he's been fucking around. He's just like old man yelling at cloud at this point.
And the funny part is, he's like everybody that came up with Moses is dead.
Yes, everyone, all their generation. He's the last one.
Nobody can even defend him. Say, no, listen to what he has to say. He sounds like an old fucking crazy man.
Bro, so later on, when he starts like talking some shit, it's like, well, yeah, he could say that because no one is alive to dispute any of the shit that he's saying.
It's almost like everything we've read so far in this book.
So he's like, when he tells like the whole congregation later on, we'll get into it, when he's like, and when God spoke through me to you, and it's like, no one can verify that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we are. Moses is addressing this whole congregation right before they're about to like enter the promised land. And he knows he's not going to make the promised land because he popped off to Yahweh. So Moses is going to command obedience. That's like the first section. Moses commands obedience, but not so much to him, right?
Yeah, but I somehow feel when I read it at first, Moses commands obedience, like, you will do this and you will do that, and like he was in command, but that's not really what it was.
It's not.
He was being told, like he was telling them, you better be obedient because this God's gonna kill you.
He was warning them.
Yeah, like this wasn't about respect. This was about fear.
Yes, he's warning them. If you know what's good for you, you're gonna listen to Yahweh, or he's gonna fuck you up.
Do you think someone said, yeah, I got it. Do as I say, not as I do, because like you ain't getting in. Fuck you. Fuck him. Not a fan of Moses, in case I didn't mention that 40 times already.
All right, so Deuteronomy 4, verse 2. Moses says this to the congregation. You must neither add anything to what I command you, nor take away anything from it, but keep the commandments of the Lord your God, with which I am charging you. So, don't fucking add no shit. Don't like leave no shit out. You gotta follow instructions to like the letter of the fucking law.
Even if you think you're doing right,
all right,
just don't do it.
All right. Now, verse 6. You must observe them diligently, for this will show your wisdom and discernment to the peoples, who when they hear all these statutes will say, surely this great nation is a wise and discerning people. For what other great nation has a God so near to it as the Lord our God is whenever we call to him? And what other great nation has statutes and ordinances as just as this entire law that I am setting before you today?
So, do you think when he's on the news, like the camera gets him from like the torso up, but underneath he's giving the jerk off symbol? Like this is just bullshit.
Yeah, he's probably got like some slave girl like underneath blowing him while he's like.
No, that's not. I wasn't making it
no?
sexual. I meant like this is all bullshit. Like get the fuck out of here with this. Like the camera's showing me like this, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, but a slave girl.
Is that what you would be doing? Like you'd be like,
no, I would have a slave girl blowing me on the 6 o'clock news.
So you admit it.
Well, I'm not denying it.
All right. So what he's talking about here, do you even understand what he's talking about here?
Yeah,
in your cynicism?
Yeah, of course I do.
Go ahead, break it down for
Basically,
us.
You left the word out when you started reading. When you say you must observe them diligently, you must observe the ordinances laid forth before you.
Well, I'm just
diligently.
reading. I'm just reading like.
No, I get it, but you missed
quote
like
from the Bible.
The sentence before was
okay, maybe
like more. Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah. So do you know what you're reading?
So obviously, like once you're like a sentence or two in, you understand that you must be obeying like the commands. I mean, it's obvious, but go ahead. So by obeying the commands, go ahead. How does this benefit them?
You don't get dead, because that's what's gonna happen.
Well, it seems like it's also like some kind of honor, and it's kind of like they're being role models for other religions, like. Everyone's going to look at you and be like, oh, shit, like they follow, like their God actually gives them like laws to follow, It's not just like some crazy like pagan God where you go out into the woods and like, like there are like laws and rules and regulations. And
strict laws, because we're stiff-necked and we're fucking, I'm sorry, dude, you're going to get me going again. You're fucking dumbasses that need to be told exactly what to do. because then you can say if somebody outside your fucking circle isn't doing exactly as you were told to do, they're the fucking problem. Not the fact that you can't think on your own. And that's why everybody these days is so all about restrictive laws, oppressing women, because we don't have to think then. We don't have to think. Yeah.
So,
and I'm sorry, Moses is trying to twist it like this is a good thing.
I think your argument or your energy and your willingness to throw people under the bus and be angry at them is misdirected. I think your anger should be directed at the people writing the Bible. Again, you're treating these Israelites like they're a real group of people that fled like Egypt and are like have been like wandering the desert for 40 years. Hold on, let me finish.
I'm not stopping you.
But I see like you're
Listen,
like
get
you're,
over my
you're
facial
on the
expressions,
mic
man.
you're
No,
on
I was
the
turning from my
mic.
wine that I don't drink so much
I
anymore.
am conditioned to you like cutting into it. So just hold off and listen. So you're arguing against, like you're taking the Israelites at face value, like this really happened, okay? The story that's being written is a way to control the people of that time. So your argument should be against the rabbis and the powers that be that want this out there.
First of all, I think you're advancing the story thousands of years. This story isn't about control. Like, who wants control? The people in charge?
You're supposed to follow Yahweh's rules to the letter of the law.
That's control, but who is in control here?
The authorities, the rabbis are in control.
First of all, I've never heard of a rabbi. Rabbis don't exist yet.
Okay, so the Levites.
No, the Levites are just the henchmen.
No, the Levites are the ones who like lay down like the laws and like you got to go to them to like get like talk to God and like
because Yahweh makes it that way. Because Yahweh is real.
There's an obvious hierarchy.
This is to keep people under control, but it's for Yahweh to keep them under control.
Okay.
I don't know these rabbis you speak of or anything.
Understand. Are you arguing? So again, so we're back to this. So you're arguing that this is an historical event that is occurring.
Yes.
Okay. So to me, can I be honest?
I would expect nothing less.
Okay. I'm going to be blunt.
All right, just bludgeon me, man.
If you honestly believe that this is a historical event that has occurred, to me, that is as naive as someone believing that, the Noah's Ark story happened is real. Like, it's just as naive.
All right.
Or the Garden of Eden. Or any of
that
nonsense.
Just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen, man.
Just because I didn't see it, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah. Just because nobody
but it takes a lot, but there's got to be a lot more in between I didn't see it and it happened, right?
Says you. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see 12 galaxies colliding at the same time last night in my backyard.
Did it happen?
Yes.
Why?
Just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Do you have any historical text that says that happened?
All right, let's move on.
Do you have any contemporary text that says it happened?
I'm done with this skit. Let's move on.
Everything's a skit that you start, though.
We're at Deuteronomy 4, verse 10. How you once stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, when the Lord said to me, assemble the people for me, and I will let them hear my words, so that they may learn to fear me as long as they live on the earth, and may teach their children so.
Yeah.
Now, let's break that down, Scott.
Please do. Yes.
Okay. So, Yahweh's purpose in speaking to the people at Horeb was to basically tell them that he's, in charge and that he will fuck them up. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
Fear.
It brings us back to Little C in the Bronx years ago. And he had to bundle the question, is it better to be feared or respected? It's better to be feared.
Little C in the Bronx. Oh, that's from
The Bronx Tale.
A Bronx Tale. We lived right on that
Avenue,
block.
Right? Yeah, nice.
Well,
did you ever see the guy driving backwards in a convertible Cadillac? That was a slick move in that movie.
It wasn't Arthur Avenue, but okay. It was 187th Street.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, right. So we lived like right there. It was like 3-4 blocks away from Arthur Avenue. But yes.
It was Arthur adjacent.
Anyway, it's an Albanian neighborhood now. So we move on, and Moses is continuing in Deuteronomy 4, verse 15. After, he tells him that nice tale about God, needing to instill fear in everyone, he says, "Since you saw no form when the Lord spoke to you at Horeb out of the fire, take care and watch yourselves closely, so that you do not act corruptly by making an idol for yourselves." So again, like God, okay, here's the weird part though. So he goes on, he's going to eventually be like, I don't want you making like eagles into the shape of like Yahweh, and I don't want you making like minotaurs into the shape of Yahweh, so that's why God doesn't appear like in his own form, But the thing is this, we already know, weren't we made in his image? You know what I mean? So like if you're going to make an idol, why not just make like a human looking like idol?
Can I ask you this? We got to rewind to Genesis. Did they say we were made in his image anywhere in this book yet?
I think I'm
saying he probably did. It's 43
yeah.
episodes ago. But
yeah,
right.
I think so.
All
right. So
aren't we an expression like we're a home good ourselves?
A home good? What do you mean?
Like I'm a representative of God. I'm made in his image, so I'm a home good.
Yes, well, that's why we're special. Because we're made in his image. That's what makes people special. Welcome to fucking the world, Scott. Welcome to understanding Christianity. All right, so
only he can make gods of himself? Because isn't that what we are?
No, we're not gods.
We're home goods.
We're just, I don't even know what the fuck we are. We're like his little pets.
I think he left a big part about it. Like he was talking about how God spoke to you from the fire. You didn't see him, but you heard fire. You heard it come from the fire. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I just heard that part.
Well, you skipped the whole part. You went past that, yes.
I went past what?
The thing about the fire.
All right, go ahead, read it.
I don't care. No, we're past it now.
Are we?
I'm good.
So that gets us to Deuteronomy 4, verse 20. "But the Lord has taken you and brought you out of the iron smelter, out of Egypt, to become a people of his very own possession as you are now." So it's more of that shit where Yahweh needs them. They're his possession. Possession was the word that was used. Possession.
I guess it's easy to feel that you can possess people when you feel yourself you're possessed.
I mean, the words are right here on the page, right? They're not even like hiding them. Like Yahweh wants you to fear him, and you are Yahweh's possession.
Yeah.
That does not sound like the kind of like Lord God that I would want to worship. I would be afraid of him. I might follow him only out of fear. Never out of love. It can never be out of love.
No. Because you might love him the wrong way and get your ass kicked.
Just how can you love an abuser?
I don't know.
And verse...
I don't know, Rusty. How do I do with this podcast?
And Deuteronomy 4, verse 23. "So be careful not to forget the covenant that the Lord your God made with you, and not to make for yourselves an idol in the form of anything that the Lord your God has forbidden you. For the Lord your God is a devouring fire, a jealous God." I mean, it's, this is, so remember, this is Moses, right? So you could say like we did, Moses is an angry old man ranting, right? However, I believe like in modern day Christianity and Judaism, he's revered as a prophet. So his words carry a tremendous amount of weight. He's telling you what God's about right now, or Yahweh. He's telling you what
God's about, just in case you haven't been fucking paying attention again.
Right. But this is a good recap because, again,
this is a good recap, yeah.
It puts like everything into perspective. And this, by the way, is just on the trip from Egypt. This is just one car ride. You know what I mean? We're not talking about all that other shit that God did before fucking Moses arrived.
You know why Yahweh struck these people down, right? Because for 40 fucking years he said, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?"
So now let's get on to if you dare worship any other gods. We get to verse 27. The Lord will scatter you among the peoples. Only a few of you will be left among the nations where the Lord will lead you. There you will serve other gods made by human hands, objects of wood and stone that neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. So he makes it a point to say that he sees and hears. And oh, by the way, if I don't like what I'm seeing or hearing, I'm about to fucking eat you, you motherfuckers. That's how I'm taking it.
He sees you when you're sleeping.
It's
he knows
scary.
when you're awake.
But he loves you.
But he loves you. I want to okay, finish.
Because the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will neither abandon you nor destroy you. He will not forget the covenant with your ancestors that he swore to them.
I want to recap a couple of things you said.
Go ahead.
First, I want to rewind to a point like I felt you jumped over. He said, when you've had children and children's children and children, and they become complacent in the land, if you act corruptly by making an idol, like you said, don't make idols, but you didn't mention what the punishment was.
Sure.
In the form of anything, thus doing what is evil in the sight of the Lord your God and provoking him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that you will soon utterly perish from the land that you are crossing the Jordan to occupy. You will not live long on it, but will be utterly destroyed.
Right.
Like, I think
And
that's
then,
important.
like, they'll be scattered, and, like, so that's what he meant. So, by the way, when he says destroyed, he doesn't mean killed. So that's why I read that part. The punishment
really?
isn't the destruction. The punishment is the diaspora that we are currently, like, living in.
Right.
Like, we are being punished for not being, like, good enough in the eyes of Yahweh.
And I'm just saying.
And that's why we're waiting for the Messiah. Because when the Messiah returns, that's when the diaspora will end. And the Messiah will bring... That's why, like Jews say, Jesus can't be the Messiah because we're still in the diaspora. He didn't bring us together.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I always thought it was Moshiach. I heard Moshiach's
One of
coming.
those.
Let's
I
be
don't
ready.
know. I'm not like King Jew.
I wouldn't. You're Jewish? I would never even microaggress to like think you were.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's
one more thing I want to bring down. One more thing I want to He mentions the covenant. I really feel like the covenant is a one-way street. Like,
so far, God has not, because God only has promised one thing.
yeah,
Land.
yeah.
So God has not, like, fulfilled any part of his bargain. I mean, he did, like, I guess it rained mana for
Do you
however
think when
long.
Moses was saying this and he was talking about promised land, somebody was like, fucking, we had plenty of land in fucking Egypt, and that guy's elbowing him like, shut the fuck up. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Yes, I think that's exactly what happened.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Yep. So,
Yep.
let's get to verse 32.
Let's go. Let's see what you're skipping over now. All right.
And we talked a little about this, I think maybe before we got on the air, but I'm going to bring this up again. Okay. So verse 32, Deuteronomy 4. For ask now about former ages. This, again, remember, this Moses talking to the people. This is like the young Gen Zers. Like, they don't know from, like, Sarah, and they don't know from fucking Aaron.
Yeah,
you
they
know what I
wanna
mean?
know.
They don't know any of the OGs.
We got iPods now.
They don't know
motherfucker.
about, like, the original Levites that got burned up for burning the incense all wrong. You know, they don't know about any of that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to use a rotary phone.
They don't know how to do a fucking thing with their hands.
Yeah, they don't know about, like, an Atari fucking 2600 cartridge.
I do spreadsheets for work.
Yeah, they don't know how to stick a nickel into the cartridge and, like, get it to, like, work properly. Okay, so he's addressing them. For ask now about former ages, long before your own, ever since the day that God created human beings on the earth. Ask from one end of heaven to the other. Has anything so great as this ever happened? Or has its like ever been heard of? Okay, here's my question.
Rusty?
Moses is saying to them right now, yo, speak now, ask all your questions of like Yahweh, but then like nobody stepped, like he just like keeps talking and doesn't give anyone a chance to ask, because now's like the opportunity to like ask Yahweh some common sense questions.
You know why? Because anytime a question was asked, people died.
Yeah.
I'm not falling for this fucking trick. I ain't asking shit. I'm going to shut my fucking mouth. I'm going to go across the Jordan.
It's crazy. So, yeah. So he's basically like, yo, you can ask any question you want, but then he keeps talking, and all he does, he just goes on and on about how amazing Yahweh is, how big Yahweh's dick is, how no one's ever made Moses orgasm the way Yahweh has. You know what I mean? It's just like this massive like tribute to Yahweh.
Somebody should get up from the back and go, too little, too late, Moses, you dead.
Right. It's almost like Moses is like begging without begging, you know?
Yeah.
So that basically gets us to the cities of refuge east of the Jordan. And this is like a section where Moses will basically set up 3 cities that will be refuges, which we discussed in the last episode.
Why was this even mentioned? Why was this even in here? It didn't seem like it provided any new information.
I mean, it seems like it's important to the Israelites or the people at the time that this was written. It seems like that's a very important thing, like this whole accidental murder thing.
Maybe based off this rally and this speech that Moses is giving, he knows someone's going to murder somebody.
Yeah.
And he wants to let them know where they can run to.
Yeah. So he sets up the 3 refuge cities where accidental murderers can go to. And then the section ends with something called the transition to the second address, which basically tells us that Moses goes on and continues to address the crowd, which gets us to Deuteronomy 5. And Deuteronomy 5, Scott, is
the 10 Commandments.
The 10 Commandments.
And I was like, I feel like we covered this already.
So we definitely covered it, but I mean, listen, it's a good thing to go through again.
Because this is the new generation has to be told the story again.
Yeah, so basically this section is very simple. Moses is going to go through the commandments again, and he's going to like really stress the fact that like do not fuck around on these commandments. Like don't break these commandments. But what I want you to keep in mind while we're going through this is, as he's telling this, conveniently, no one is alive from the time that like the original commandments were like presented to him. He's the only one left.
Do you think when he's telling this really fascinating story to the congregation, someone in the back's telling his buddy, he's like, yo, I don't know about you, I heard this motherfucker broke those 10 commandments.
Right.
Because he was like, oh, home goods. Like,
right.
He like just dropped them.
Who knows how that story's changed, right?
Yeah.
In the game of telephone.
Yeah. Now we have to look out for the commandments. You dropped the shit.
Yeah. All right. So he goes on and he's like, oh, hear ye, you know, blah, blah, blah. Gather around my robes, the children. And he goes on to say, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. So that's like the first commandment. You shall not make for yourself an idol, whether in the form of anything that is in heaven above, or that is on the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing children for the iniquity of parents to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who reject me, but showing steadfast love to the 1,000th generation of those who love me and keep my commandments. I have a question. I am really into Yahweh. I love Yahweh. I do everything Yahweh loves. According to this, to my 1,000th generation, right? What happens if my son is like, fuck Yahweh?
It's funny you say that. Well, it's all right. It's all right, though. Well, what concerns me, I don't feel like I answered your question.
Well, how does that work?
I don't know how it works.
If like all my peoples are blessed, how does that work if like one of them isn't into Yahweh? Or would that happen? Maybe Yahweh has
All right,
ways to avoid that.
Let's say you have
Maybe
1,000.
there's something in my DNA. There's like a pheromone that like Yahweh like puts out through the smoke, and it like that's why he likes the Levites. Like that pheromone, like they like whatever's in their DNA, the pheromone that he releases makes them loyal to him.
I was wondering if your odor was pleasing to the Lord.
That he always talks about, like a pleasing odor.
So this is what I'm going to say. If you do right by Yahweh, He'll be good to for 1,000 generations of your kids. So 1,000 generations, which is fucking... has there even been 1,000 generations since this fucking book was written?
It's stupid. He's like really like extending himself now. He's like, these people are so stiff-necked and stupid. They'll believe anything I say. He's like, it's like that character from Austin Powers at this point, where he's like, I want $1 billion. You know what I mean?
I think it was $1 million, and that was Dr. Evil.
And then he changed it to $1 billion. Yes.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because he said something ridiculous.
So here's how it breaks down according to this. If Rusty, you are good with the Lord, He's going to bless 1,000 generations of your children. If 500 generations later, that distant son of yours, great grandson or whatever, says fuck Yahweh, the next 5 generations are good. But now the clock starts with that guy. After that 500 generations is up, starting with that fucking kid, then I don't know, man.
All right. So let's continue.
Wait, I have something to say.
Go ahead.
I forgot.
So
it's important. No, it's important.
The first commandment is like, thou shalt not have any Lord, other fucking... I'm number one God. That's it. No other God.
Fine, but I just want to comment on this. So, if God says, or Yahweh says, punishing the children for iniquity of parents to the 3rd and 4th generation, to anyone I interact with from this day forward that believes they're like a Bible-thumping Christian, say, I don't understand why we should be responsible for anything about slavery. I never owned slaves. My father never owned slaves. My grandfather never owned slaves. And everybody stops there because you know what? Your great-grandfather probably did own slaves. So you should be punished. So you cannot hold the Bible in one hand and say you're not responsible for 4 generations ago of slavery, okay?
Fuck these people, man.
Fuck these people is right, yeah. It's time to fucking have an anti-fucking religious war or something.
Let's continue.
Yeah,
Deuteronomy 5, verse 11. You shall not make wrongful use of the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not acquit anyone who misuses his name. So we talked about this, right? Do you remember what we talked about?
It ain't just like saying Jesus Christ or fucking God fuck.
It's like invoking Yahweh's name in like a dispute. And like,
I took it further than that. If you like wear a cross around, like a fucking stupid gold cross around your neck, but then act in an unchristian way, you're full of shit. You're using the God's name in vain. Don't get a big tattoo of a fucking cross on your fucking arm while you're committing a hit. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. You're right.
That's using the Lord's name in vain.
That's right. Deuteronomy 5, verse 12. Observe the Sabbath day and keep it holy as the Lord your God commanded you. Because remember, God's got to like collect like some shit on that day. Like you got to stay in the house so he can come out and like not get contaminated by your fucking cooties.
Yeah.
6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. Go ahead. You want to say something?
No. Well, I do, but I'm not.
You shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter or your male or female slave or your ox or your donkey or any of your livestock. I feel like this should be like a Broadway musical. You know what I mean? Like this could be like a song. Or your son or your daughter or your male or female.
Wasn't that the dude on the roof?
Or your ox or your donkey. That's Fiddler on the Roof.
The hot can on the tin roof or something?
Fiddler on the Roof?
Wasn't that this?
No, it wasn't this.
I don't know. I never saw it. You saw it?
I didn't see it, but that doesn't mean I don't know that it's not about this.
Right, like Lin-Manuel Noriega wrote it and you don't like his shit because he read one book about a hot tin can roof?
Fiddler on the Roof is about Tsarist era Russia and a community of fucking like Jewish people, like farmers, that like one tries to hook up, like it's like Romeo and Juliet.
Sorry, I mentioned it, man. I didn't mean to fucking microaggress on anybody.
Yeah, fuck off.
But let's go back to the Sabbath.
Yes.
So the current Sabbath is recognized as Saturday, right? Like this when people hide in their houses?
Well, the Jewish Sabbath is Saturday. The Christian Sabbath is Sunday.
You see, I got a problem with
the
this.
Muslim Sabbath is Friday.
Wait. So we can't even agree. What'd you call these? The Abrahamic religions? These are the 3 Abrahamic religions?
Mm-hmm.
And they can't agree what day the Sabbath is?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it we respect the Jewish Sabbath on Saturday, the Christian Sabbath on Sunday, but the Muslim Sabbath, I still have to go to work?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? You don't think that's fucked up? It should be a 3-day fucking weekend, 4-day work week. If you can't decide on what day the Sabbath is, everybody's Sabbath is fucking respected.
Well, we live in the Christian world. Like, we live in like the Western world, whereas Muslims live like in the Eastern world, I guess you would call it. I don't even know. So,
is it possible they're all taking the same day off, or because of time zone differences, it's all really the same day?
let's move on to
Yeah. You keep fucking perpetuating a fucking 5-day work week, asshole.
let's move on to
Fucking
the next commandment, Deuteronomy 5, verse 16. Honor your father and your mother, as the Lord your God commanded you, so that your days may be long and that it may go well with you in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. So,
blah, 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 blah. Have you met my mother? Has anybody met my mother here? Like, no.
Next commandment, you shall not murder.
Fair enough.
Well, but we are setting up 3 sanctuary cities, so,
just in case it slips.
That's right.
Remember, those aren't murders. Those are accidental homicides.
Right. Wink, wink. Okay. Neither shall you commit adultery. Go ahead.
Neither shall you commit adultery. That means neither, meaning in addition to all the other previous
laws. So you
laws.
can commit adultery, you just can't do it in conjunction with all of these other things.
Okay, you see where I'm going? But
murder. I think it's murder and adultery. Like, you can't do those.
I'm thinking maybe words were left out through translation. Maybe it's originally said, neither of you shall commit adultery.
Right.
Right? Because apparently it's okay to be adulterous if you're a man.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just words got left and like fucking... You know what? A biblical constitutionalist, constructionalist, federale would fucking say that gives me permission to cheat.
We should create like a government where we follow like the Bible, and we'll create tribunals. And
definitely leave out words or add words where we feel it's necessary. Mm-hmm.
Neither shall you steal. Neither shall you bear false witness against your neighbor. It's okay if it's like someone from around the corner. You know what I mean? Lie about that motherfucker all day long. Not your neighbor. Neither shall you covet your neighbor's wife. Can you define covet for me? What does covet mean?
I don't know. A girl across the street got a big ass, and it's
all right. So
but I don't know what coveting means.
Let's set up a scenario. Let's say you and I are hanging out at your house, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's say we're like having like some cold beers out front.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, like some hottie walks by, right?
Yeah.
She's wearing like short shorts and like she's got like the whole thing happening.
She was some LL Cool J in the background.
Like we don't even see her face because we don't need to. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost better that we don't see her face because that would probably ruin the whole situation.
Her lip gloss was shining.
I've seen the women around here, and I gotta tell you, bro.
Lip gloss shining, man.
So, all right. So, coveting. Like, let's say, so we're like looking, we're observing. We're like, we turn to one another. We give each other like a knowing like look, and then we like carry on. Is that coveting? Or is coveting like you and I like plotting and saying, yo, we're going to get together, like, and the next time she's coming down the block, we're going to, like, throw a fucking hood over her head and, like, chloroform her and, like, you know what I mean? Like, what's coveting? What are we talking about?
Dude, I was only talking about slipping a roofie into a drink. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't know what the word.
No, so really, coveting.
We got to look at covet.
What's the level? Is it, like, if you get a boner, is that coveting?
I don't know. I really don't know. And is it okay, like, as long as you don't act on it? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. So I think
Like,
covet
listen,
needs to be defined.
We do need to, like, murder.
You know what
these-
it is? It's like in the Constitution. It's that amendment that says no cruel or unusual punishment shall be inflicted. It's like that's great, but everything's relative. So like cruel and unusual to one person is not cruel or unusual to another.
Who's the barometer here?
Yeah, who's like deciding, you know? So it's like, what is covetous? That's, I think, a big problem. And I think that might be like a whole issue in like across religions, you know? Like
It's definitely an issue with you.
people get all hung up on that. And then, you know, we go on and there's a section titled Moses.
No, you forgot the last one. Neither shall you desire your neighbor's house or field or... you know what? Male or
part of
female
the
slave
same
or
one, but go
ox.
ahead.
So now, let me ask... All right, again, it begs
Don't be envious.
It's yeah, so I was like, does that mean don't be envious of your neighbor's wife?
It's don't be envious.
So if it's like, yo, I want to
be happy with what you have, don't want more.
So don't want to bang your neighbor's donkey, right?
No, you don't want, like, in other words, a
You don't
donkey's a
want.
sign of wealth. It's like a Tesla, man. So it's like, yo, if your neighbor's got like a donkey,
No, I'm talking about if it's a hot donkey. What if it's one of them fucking new models that talk? Like in the fucking desert?
those are the old classics. They don't make them like that anymore.
No thoroughbreds around here anymore. Yeah, all right, go on.
So that basically leads us into the last section that we're going to cover tonight. And I don't even know. It's not even really like a section. It's Moses, the mediator of God's will.
No, this is important.
Is it?
Yeah, because I think he talks about, remember when you saw God and he talked to you, but then you really didn't see him because I was kind of standing in between you and him.
So this is the
He
part.
acts like we all saw him.
So this is the part where he like basically goes back and he talks about how, remember that time that like God like fucking spoke to me or spoke to you through me, and like, you know, the fire and you couldn't get close and the smoke.
But I feel like he's telling the story as if everybody saw the face of God,
Right.
and then someone was like elbow went. That's not how.
So that's-
oh yeah, I mean,
so-
like you could have seen him, but
So that's the thing. So he's telling this to people who are not around.
yeah.
So like he's basically like weaving some fucking story.
Do you think he could probably tell any story he wanted to tell because nobody saw it?
I think he's doing exactly that. I think
think
he's
so?
telling that story.
So this is only 40 years. Could you imagine someone reliving a story 6,000 years later?
You ever watch The 100?
Yes.
So the
That
100,
series never fucking ended, by the way.
So
Did you watch
let's
it
not,
to
I
its
don't want to.
completion?
Let's not get into the minutia
All right.
of the 100. Let's get through that one quickly. But we can talk about it like next episode if you want. But the premise for the 100 is it's like after there's a huge nuclear holocaust on Earth, the only survivors are like in a satellite orbiting the Earth, and they have these horrific punishments where they send fucking people down to planet Earth, which is uninhabitable, and fucking they punish 100 like kids, and they send them to fucking Earth, and these kids like try to survive, and that's the premise for the fucking show.
More or less.
More or less. So the reason I brought up the 100 now is I don't know. I already forgot why I brought up the 100. What the hell were we talking about? Oh,
Space stations.
so
The Cullings.
I find it hard to believe that like they were only up there for like 20 years or whatever, because like their parents were like from Earth. And in 20 years, like all these like new languages formed, right? Like entire like civilizations and societies over the course of 20 years. What? They kept running into like all these different
even on the
societies
planet,
and
on the planet.
cultures,
Yes,
on
yes,
Earth.
yes,
and they all
yes.
had like different languages, and like it was like, motherfuckers, it's only been 20 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with these crazy accents. And they had entire
Yes.
cultural customs.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
I gotcha.
ridiculous after 20 years. So that's like, it's like when you were asking about 40 years in the desert, like would shit have like been lost or forgotten after only 40 years? I mean, yes, I think 40 years, people forget shit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're basing life on your
Especially
knowledge
when-
of the 100.
Especially when there's no media to reinforce things. So think about it. Like for us, there's like movies. So even like if we don't know anything about the 1940s, even if we've seen 2 or 3 clips of a movie, we already know, like, this is what people dress like in the 1940s. This is what people, like, act. You know what I mean? Like, we have a frame of reference. Whereas if back then, they had no frame of reference for anything. So 40 years is, like, a long time. Plus, people live to be, like, 30, and then they drop dead. Well, not
yet.
A lot of them are, like, 120.
They're still living,
yeah,
they're still living good right
but
now.
But only the important people, I feel like.
But, you know what? The Earth might have been much closer to the sun, so years might have been a lot shorter. Like the speed ripping around the Earth, the sun. Yeah.
So basically, Moses, again, he recounts, like, you know, the old stories. And the reason that he's telling these old stories is he's trying to explain to the Israelites, when you don't follow God's commands, like, he punishes you.
Yeah.
And I've seen how he punishes people, and you do not want God to punish you like that. So if you know what's good for you, he's like, look, I'm not making it into the promised land with you. So I'm doing you a favor right now by telling, motherfuckers, I shouldn't even be telling you all this shit. You know what I mean? But what do I care? Because fucking I'm about to die.
Do you think he's telling them this because, like, he wants, like, people to say, wow, Moses did everything right, and he still didn't get in. We better do things more more righteous. That's what it means. You got to do it right. More righteous than him. And then again, somebody in the back was like, I'm pretty sure that dude started the story by murdering an Egyptian in the sand.
So here's my question to you.
The question is, fuck Moses. That's not a question, is it?
So you have said that Moses is one of the, like, your most reviled, like, characters in the Bible. Is there any redemption through what he's doing now? In your eyes? Because what is his motivation for doing this? I mean, what is the motivation? Is he just disgruntled and, like...
If he's disgruntled, I don't think he bothers telling the congregation.
But he's disgruntled with Yahweh,
he
not
is
the
disgruntled with Yahweh. But if he's disgruntled with Yahweh, so maybe he actually has love for his people, and he just doesn't want to see the same shit that's happening to him.
I mean, the murder that he committed was because of someone slapping around one of his people.
Yeah, so vigilante justice to go, listen, don't fucking see it through rose-colored glasses, man.
No, so what I'm just saying is maybe he has love for his people, and so, like, he's going off on Yahweh. Like, he's, like, exposing Yahweh.
And we can't really blame him for the Levites killing 39,000 and 47,000 being impaled. It's really not Moses' fault.
Again, what I'm saying is there any redemption in what he's doing now, or what is his motivation?
I think because he's still alive. I haven't heard him die yet.
Well, he's talking. We're literally reading him talking.
I think I've got 40 years of history on him that I have to get over first. So I'm not ready to redeem him yet. And so, no, this is no redemption in my eyes yet.
Okay.
This is almost sadness and trying to buy himself some more time. Like, I have no good feelings towards this guy. Right. In the end, history may reflect on him differently.
Okay.
I'm not saying 6,000 years from now, an entire fucking huge population of the planet thinks this guy's all right. Mm-hmm. I'm just not ready to go there yet.
All right, fair enough. So that's where we're at. So Moses is telling old stories. He's warning, the kids about Yahweh. He's, like, recounting the 10 Commandments, the covenant with Yahweh. And he's like, if you follow these quote-unquote simple rules, if you follow these, like, 1,000 totally non-contradictory, like, rules, you know what I mean? Everything will be fine. But if you step an inch to the left or an inch to the right, which he basically says, your shit's gonna get all fucked up.
So it's like red light, green light, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Don't let him turn around and see you falling over.
Do not.
Isn't that what, like, Squid Game is about? That show Squid Game was about shit like that.
That's like adults playing, like, children's game, but
not
for,
just
like,
that game,
high
right?
stakes. Yeah, it's like all different, right?
I'm gonna read the last, if you don't mind. Deuteronomy 5, verse 33.
Go ahead.
You must follow exactly the path that the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live, and that it may go well with you, and that you may live long in the land that you are to possess.
Right. So that puts, like, an exclamation on, like, what I just said, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like if you fucking deviate at this point, you are some stiff-necked motherfuckers.
Yeah. Everything's been laid out for you. Here's the land. Everything is going to be paradise. Just follow the fucking rules.
Yeah, man.
Just follow these impossible rules. That's the problem, though.
I hate
Scott,
to say
come
this.
on. The rules are impossible.
I hate to say this.
stupid.
Hold on. I hate to say this because I think I've said this about other things tonight. The next person that gets in my fucking face because I'm wearing underwear, and that's only because society tells me to, and calls me a fucking sheep, I'm going to hit him with a Bible.
People get on you for wearing underwear?
No, or a mask, or any piece of cloth that ain't their fucking business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw the fucking Bible at them. I'm like, you want to talk about sheep? Get out, step 1 fucking inch out of line after reading the first fucking 5 books of the Bible.
Yeah.
Who's a fucking sheep?
Yeah.
Go tattoo yourself up, asshole.
Yeah.
All right, on that note, you got anything else?
Are you going to click stop?
Only if you don't have anything else.
Well, I want to...
Yeah, you want to bring it down like in a more peaceful mode?
Well, I just, again, I wanted to, once again, thank our patrons for their support. It's much appreciated. We're going to have content for you. We're always thinking of what we can add, so that's going to happen. And fuck everyone else.
Yeah, man.
Have a good one.
Yeah. Oh, you know what we're going to talk about on the Patreon? Remember what I was talking about?